Welcome to the second set of exercises in this series. Today we'll start with some open string walking. Very simple exercise, great one to start with at the beginning of your warm-up session. You can do this in breaststroke, free stroke, you can do any pairing of fingers. In fact, it's a really good idea to do the walking with a single finger, so maybe you call it hopping to begin with. For example, with your index finger. On the sheet I have index middle alternation suggested, so we'll start with that. If you don't want to do the hopping, pause it here if you want to hop through all your fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, just slow. This allows you to prepare each finger. Listen for tone. Adjust to today's nails. To today's mood. The weather, whatever it is that's affecting you. Repeat the half notes a couple of times if you like, then move into quarter notes. 3, 4, 1. And then triplets at whatever speed you like. Let's try it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next exercise is probably my favorite left-hand exercise of all time. It was given to me by Patrick Kearney, who's a Montreal-based guitarist. So if you ever see him, say thanks for the exercise. It's a left-hand finger pattern that we're going to move down the neck. On the sheet, I've said weaving across the strings. So you'll see what I mean in a moment by that. You're starting with one finger in each fret leading up to the 12th fret, meaning we're in 9th position. And the pattern, as it says on the sheet, is 1, 4, 3, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4. Great thing about this is that you're repeating that 4th finger the most. So this is working on the side of the hand that is often neglected and often needs a little bit of work and control. So making sure that as you're playing this exercise, your fingers are curved, they're landing in the right spot in the fret, which is right beside that fret wire. And the other thing to think about is a feeling of transfer of weight between each finger. So as you're playing your first finger, all the weight of your hand is in that first finger. Then you move to the 4th finger, the weight feels like it shifts to the 4th, and so forth. We'll start this slowly, and as we move through the neck, you can increase the speed. In your right hand, any fingering is good. I'm going to actually use just my index finger for now, and I might switch to alternating partway through. The focus is on the left hand, so keep the right hand simple. 1, 2, 3, 4. Move to the 2nd string. Third string. 4th string. 5th string. String 6. Next we stay on string 6. Move down to position 8. This is where the weaving begins. Moving up to string 5. String 4. Back to 7th position. Picking up the speed a little bit here. String 2, string 3, back to 6. Gradual accelerando as is comfortable. 5th position. Fourth. Third. Second. And first. As you go down the neck, the lateral stretch becomes more challenging, of course, and you'll start to feel it in your hand. If you can't make it all the way down to the first position, or if you're moving slower, that's okay. Feel free to modify this in any way, only going over 3 strings instead of 6, only going down to fret 5, whatever is comfortable for you at this point. Next, riscato strumming, taking it over to the right hand, just on muted strings. This pattern is just down with the fingers, up with the thumb, with a little rotation in that wrist. Quick motion, and of course you can increase the speed, have it as a good exercise for that right hand on the extensor muscles. The scale for this week, of course, pause it if you want to do some more strumming. The scale for this week is the C octatonic scale, or a diminished scale, and some manipulations of that, just to play through it so you know what it sounds like. Here it goes. It's alternating whole tones and half tones, or whole tones and semitones, whole steps, half steps, whatever lingo you'd like to use. 1, 2, 3. Play it anywhere on the neck that you like. First position is great. Play it in a higher octave, whatever you like to do for the scale. I also provided it harmonized in major thirds or diminished fourths. Interval class 4 if you're into that kind of theory. Just so you have the sound of it, here we go. When you're playing harmonized scales in thirds, try having your fingers move as one. So in my case, I'm using index and middle. The index finger is resting on top of the middle finger, and as I'm plucking, they're moving at the same time. The impulse is coming from the middle finger. The index finger feels like it's being carried. That way, you end up with your notes sounding like they're at the same time instead of some variation of that. Another good manipulation for your scale is the slur scale. You can do this with any scale, and here it is with the octatonic. Hammer-ons on the way up, pull-offs on the way down. Good way to get some left hand work in here. 2, 3. course, when you're doing a slur scale, you have to modify where you're playing the notes so you can end up with all of the slurs. It's a really good mental exercise if you want to take the page away and see if you can know your scale well enough to just be able to figure out the slurs as you go. Okay, back to the right hand for some arpeggios and tremolo work. Tremolo is just an arpeggio played on one string. So if you practice your arpeggios, they're a good preparation for playing tremolo pieces in the future. Of course, the arpeggio that we use as classical guitarists in our classical tremolo is thumb first, and then on the same string would be A, M, I. There are other tremolo patterns that can be used. Actually, some people use just two fingers, IMI, or MIM, or MAM, whatever feels strongest to you. But the classic is AMI on the same string. So we'll start off with just an arpeggio on 4 different strings here. And as you can see, if you look at the exercise, the thumb is going to be moving, because typically in tremolo pieces, the thumb is going to be moving. So here we go, just in 8th notes, and of course you can take this at any tempo. It should sound something like this. And then you would repeat that over several times to get a good warm-up in your hand. The tremolo pattern is exactly the same. It's just instead of playing on the top 3 strings, you're going to be playing your arpeggio A, M, I all on one string. I've written it out in 16th notes. Start it out at a manageable pace where you're in control, and gradually speed it up until you almost lose control. But you don't want to lose control with tremolo. 3, 4. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me, but hopefully that was pretty clear. Of course, if you have the PDF, it'll be even more clear.